We have a new Enterprise, and normally that would be very, very exciting. But I'm not sure I like how they did this. Welcome to Trek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. If you haven't seen the last episode of Picard Season 3, before you watch this video, please, there might be a couple of little spoilers. So turn the video off now and come back once you've seen the episode. And I have to ask, why haven't you seen it? It's brilliant. But anyway, if those people have now gone, I could talk about the Enterprise G. So, as we know from the end of Picard Season 3, the Titan A has been rechristened the Enterprise G.
She's been rechristened in honor of you and your crew.
We know that the Enterprise F, the Odyssey class, was lost, early decommissioned because of some encounter with something or other. We know this because it was actually an Easter egg early on in Season 3. So, the Odyssey class, a vessel I absolutely adored, and I love the history of where that ship came from, coming from the game, etc. We only saw her very briefly, but at least she did become canon. Now, there are some designs for the Enterprise G from, again, the wider canon, and they're very, very cool. I'm going to show you one example here. It's actually the Eclipse class, and I would have loved to have seen the Enterprise go something maybe more this way, but they've renamed the Titan A and rechristened her the Enterprise. This was really to celebrate Picard and the Enterprise and their part in saving the fleet and really saving the Federation. But I do have a couple of problems with that. One, the Titan A basically got its ass handed to it the entire series. It was basically sure when they saw the strike for the first time, when we are not a vessel that can go up against this. We're not a warship. We are an exploration vessel. Shouldn't the Enterprise, the most famous vessel in the fleet, and what normally gets described as the flagship of the fleet, be one of the more capable vessels of the fleet? Obviously, the NX-01, the first Warp 5 capable vessel built by humanity, was called the Enterprise. The Enterprise NCC-1701 was one of the most capable warships in the fleet. It saved the Federation multiple times, particularly in the refit. In the motion picture, we saw that it had new shields. V'Ger wiped out the Klingons without any effort at all. But the Enterprise, with its new shields, was able to take a hit and keep on coming. We also know from the search for Spock that the Enterprise was the fastest ship in the fleet. That when the captain of the Excelsior is sort of mocking the Enterprise, he's saying, we're going to come and we're going to break some of your speed records tomorrow. So the Enterprise refit, NCC-1701, was the fastest ship in the fleet and one of the most capable warships. But is an Enterprise getting christened from another vessel something that's happened before? Well, we think, following the destruction of the Enterprise, the original, and we saw the Enterprise NCC-1701A, that was virtually identical, come on our screens, that it can't have been a new ship. It must have been something that had already been constructed, maybe something that was already in service, because it was only a few months after the destruction of the Enterprise. So, was this actually a vessel that was named something else originally? Well, there is one theory, and it is theorized that it was actually the Yorktown, and then it was rechristened the Enterprise A. So this maybe has happened before. Now, for me, the flagship of the fleet should be the most capable of vessels, and it does seem that every other Enterprise that followed the A was, but you could argue that perhaps the A wasn't, that it continued to be a Constitution class, mainly because that was Kirk's ship. The Excelsior class had already been in construction and was a superior vessel in virtually every way. So really, the Enterprise A should have been an Excelsior class if you can continue along that idea of it being the most capable vessel in the fleet. The Odyssey class, again, was bigger than the E, a more capable fighting machine, again designed with the Borg in mind, and things like the Scimitar from the Romulans. It was a warship. I don't think you can call the Titan A that. But that vessel was an important ship in the defense of the fleet. So renaming it the Enterprise is a great honor. But isn't that also a kind of snubbing your nose at the Titan? The Titan was just as important in the defense of the Federation during Picard Season 3 as the Enterprise. The Enterprise D just came in at the end and saved the day. The Titan was the vessel that defeated the Shrike, that came in and through using the cloaking technology, etc., was able to give the Enterprise D time to defeat the Borg. It took on the entire fleet. And the fact that it is the Titan A does suggest that actually the Titan is a name that already has importance within the Federation, because it has been argued that they only give that suffix of the A, B, C, D, etc. to vessels that have that importance. So it was already an important name within the Federation, and they just completely ignored everything it had done and rechristened it the Enterprise. It seems like a bit of an insult. I don't really understand why they did it. Now, coming away from let's pretend Star Trek isn't real for a second, why did the writers do it? Well, we look like we are going to be getting Starfleet Legacy. This whole end sequence was set up for that. And there seems to be an obsession with writers that a Star Trek series like this has to be based around the Enterprise. Star Trek Enterprise, with Scott Bakula, Captain Archer, etc., should never have been called the Enterprise. The Enterprise, with Kirk, NCC 1701, was always called to being the first Enterprise. Now, the writers of that series got around that by saying, well, it's an NX-01. It's not really Starfleet. It's a experimental vessel. So, technically, it isn't the first ship. The Enterprise is still the first. But that always seemed to me a cop-out to me. They should have just called it the Endeavour or the Atlantis or something like that. Then, I wouldn't have been a bit gnarled by the fact that it was the Enterprise. They didn't need to do it. And for me, Star Trek Legacy have done it again. They didn't need to change the name to the Enterprise. They could have done this brilliant scene at the end. Captain 7 of 9 aboard the Titan A, about to go on its first mission. And as it does, it flies past the new Enterprise G. They could have done a scene a little bit like the end of Undiscovered Country, where the Excelsior and the Enterprise are flying together, and then the Excelsior flies away, and they say, oh my God, that's a big ship. And they say, not as big as their captain. They could have done something like that. I'd have loved to see maybe Data as captain or something. But they didn't do that. And I do think it's a shame in lots of ways. But this whole end sequence happened a whole year after the events of the Borg attack. So we can assume, can't we, that the Titans had a massive refit. Perhaps it is a far more capable vessel now than it was when we saw it earlier. Now, we're not going to know whether that's true or not until we actually see this vessel in action. I'm going to do a video talking about Legacy a little bit later, but I think is pretty much nailed down to happen. I just hope it doesn't continue being a vessel that, is a plucky underdog and gets its ass handed to it every 2 minutes. I want to see a vessel that can actually take on some of the villains in Star Trek. But guys, what do you think? I love the whole ending sequence. I love how it sets up Legacy. It just frustrates me. And I put a poll on my channel and I basically said, was it okay to rename the Titan to give us a new Enterprise? 52% of you said yes, but 48% of you said no. And that is after 1,400 votes, by the way, and it's still that close. So this is going to be a little bit of a contentious issue. Should we care? Probably not, but we're Trekkies. We do. Will it be cool to see 7 of 9 of Captain of the Enterprise? Yeah, very cool. If they were going to rename the Titan to celebrate Picard in his career, couldn't they have called it the USS Picard? Maybe. I just think they went too far calling it the Enterprise. But guys, get into the comments, tell me what you think. Is this okay? Or is it actually one more little mistake in Picard Season 3 that, again, doesn't take anything away from a brilliant series, but is maybe a little bit irritating? Get into the comments, tell me exactly what you're thinking. If you are new to the channel, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can go to patreon.com/sidetrack, where most of our new videos go first, and you can watch them without the adverts for a small contribution each month. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.